Hi, Take It Up with Jessica Lee. I'm here with Chad Weber, who is the VP of Sales in the Western region for ASG. Hi, Chad. How are you?
Jessica, I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. We are now in a challenging environment where you must face it, especially you in sales. And I know that salespeople love to meet in person, for lunch, for happy hour, and that rapport in person is so critical. But we are now in a lockdown quarantine phase. So how are you able to carry on doing your enterprise sales in this environment?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Jessica. Absolutely relevant as we have this discussion today. To be honest with you, I would say that our organization and sales team is truly kind of thinking through and trying to better understand what the new normal looks like for us. Obviously, the quarantine, the lockdown, you in California, it might be a little elevated or escalated from where we are in Arizona today, but we're about to catch up with you is the honest truth in my estimation. So a lot of things to think through, but the first thing we're thinking through as it pertains to your question and to specifically answer that is, how do we get FaceTime with our customers? As you said, the happy hours, the industry events were the first things to go, right? And even going to the customer site or having the customer come to your site, those days, at least for the time being, are absolutely gone. So again, to answer your question, we're leveraging the tools and the technologies that we have in-house today. For us, that happens to be like Microsoft Teams from a video discussion, presentation type of capability. And we're paying a lot of attention to turning the camera on, really getting that FaceTime with the customers over technology, of course, which, thank the good graces that we're in a position where we have those technologies today, because, a decade and a half ago, certainly we didn't, and what would we have done then? So those are some of the things that we're thinking about. And then, what does reaching out to customers look like? What does, how are we going to replace the interactions of those industry events with things like the broader, bigger webinars where we're really pushing the traffic there, and thinking about, as well, how our technology at ASG would provide value to the marketplace in challenging times like we're faced with today with the coronavirus.
Yes. I mean, I feel like clients or prospects are delaying spending money because of the uncertainty in the environment. So they're delaying any procurement. They're working from home with kids, and so they're not working at 100% capacity like before.
Yes.
And so I think that do you feel maybe hitting quota is definitely less likely, and that the effort to actually close deals is going to require a lot more work for maybe less revenue?
Yeah, I can tell you right now, as you mentioned to the audience, I in the VP of the West region for ASG, which means a lot of California customers. I won't, of course, say any specific names, but we have customers in the healthcare sector in California that we've already seen impact to Q1 revenue. Working on closing, renewal contracts, new opportunities, all across the board, both up and down the stack, renewals, new opportunities, etc., that they've proactively told us all resources in our organization are focused on handling this outbreak, period. We are requesting that our vendors work with us.
Let's talk about your technology. I know you work with a lot of healthcare providers and the financial institutions, because your technology, ASG, is into providing that trust of the data. When we're talking about the metadata that allows them to truly see the movement of the original data from one system to the next, where it goes and all that. And you're able to reach all the way to the mainframe, which being around for 30 years, I think what you've done is phenomenal. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the technology and how that helps clients?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing I'd say in answer to your question is that we actually have 3 separate product lines, and we are going to focus today's conversation on ASG's data intelligence solution. So yeah, you're exactly right. The data intelligence solution ASG brings to the marketplace is a metadata management solution. The thing about ASG that I'd like to highlight in this conversation, and you already did in different words than I'm going to use, is that because we've been in this game and doing metadata management for our customers for over 3 decades, Jessica, we have a depth and breadth at that skill set that we believe makes us the gorilla in the room or the elephant in the room, the best of the best. And one of those reasons is exactly what you just mentioned. Not, when you think about the other solution providers out there in the marketplace, a lot of them do great things. I'm not here to disparage the competition. Competition's healthy, all that good stuff, but none of them have been around doing what we've been doing for 30 years. And we're built on mainframe system technologies, right? So, first and foremost, that's one of the reasons those financial institutions, those healthcare companies, both of which you mentioned from an industry perspective, that have been around for more than a decade, come to ASG to meet these needs when they're thinking about things like how do I address a compliance matter that might be on my plate, whether it be the new CCPA regulation in California, whether it be GDPR coming out of the European Union, or any other regulation that would require me to identify that personal information of either my customers, my employees, or even my partners in a partner type of ecosystem, right? So if a piece of information comes in, we were talking earlier, but I'll just use that low-hanging fruit example of I open an account, a bank account, a savings account, checking, whatever it might be, at one of the major financial institutions out there with my email address. Pretty common practice out there. I've started accounts in that manner, right? I'm sure you have too. But what we don't think about a lot of times, certainly, back a long time ago, we weren't thinking about this, but when I put that email address into that banking system to start an account, where else does that go, right? Throughout their data infrastructure. My strong suspicion is that it's probably going to the marketing department because they want to, market to me to embrace more of their portfolio than just that checking account. They want the credit card and the investment account and everything else, which is good business and why they do that. But with regulations that are coming out, and some of them have been around for a while now, they need to with a fine-tooth comb, be able to identify where that information is going. So again, our metadata management capability will give our customers and partners an ability to see that information as it goes throughout their ecosystem, their data ecosystem, and their data landscape.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful value you're providing to the healthcare providers and financial institutions. So I think, the next question I would like to ask is, now that you're in this challenging sales environment of customers focusing on the crisis, you're now working from home, like most of us are working from home, not being able to go on site, not having that meeting in person. What is the change in the strategy to actually close deals? And I know that, the expectation has to shift now, but yeah, that great technology, how do you get it in front of clients to actually talk about it?
That's a great question. I think in a lot of ways, because this new normal is so new right now, we're still in the process of thinking that through, but I do have some high level initial opinions on what that looks and feels like. Number one, less FaceTime, a lot more conference calls. If I'm a salesperson, especially a field salesperson, maybe working from a home office or whatever the case may be, and I don't know if this is your question, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think that mindset is critically important right now, right? I think in general, there are 2 types of mindsets, a growth and a fixed mindset. And those individuals with that fixed mindset, just kind of waiting this virus thing out, waiting to see what happens for a few weeks before they kind of get back into the game. My strong belief is that 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the road, these people are going to be struggling immensely for any sort of pipeline whatsoever. Recommending to my team is a couple different things. Number one, increase your skill sets. You're not on the road. You're not taking flights. You're not driving an hour or two to go see a customer across town or across the state in which your territory is. Use that time to refine your pitch, refine your process, truly understand the value that our technology bears to market. Be creative with, okay, there's a new world that we're operating within. Do I see any use cases that could be coming down the pike? Are there any current customers that, even though everybody else's business is tanking, maybe they're involved in creating masks for healthcare or something along these lines in the supply chain that's going to be critically important to the US and the world addressing this virus issue, right? So these are the types of things that we're thinking about. How do we reach out to those types of customers? How do we ramp up our level of activity, I would say as well. I believe it very well could take double the effort in 2020 to make the same or a little bit less money as a salesperson as you did in 2019, right? So whatever you did in 2019, whatever money you made, think about, I'm probably going to have to double the effort right around there, maybe more than that, you know, to make that same type of money. But here's what I also believe, and here's the good news for all the salespeople watching this interview. If you do that when times are tough, you're going to create yourself a whole new skill set, a whole new method of operation, a whole new real paradigm for your own business. Mm-hmm. Your customers are going to identify you as that person who was working hard for them, even though, you know, the revenue might not have been coming in at the same clip from them in 2020 or maybe even 2021. But moving forward, you're going to establish yourself as having credibility, as being that go-to person for your customers. So that's the good news.
Sounds good. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us, Chad. And I know it is a very challenging time for everyone, but especially for sales on the front line doing the enterprise sales, field sales. Appreciate you sharing your thoughts on the situation.
Absolutely, Jessica. Thank you.
There you have it. Tech It Up with Jessica Lee, Chad Weber from ASG.